much ado, I now request ma'am to present the welcome address.
Thank you, Devashri. A very warm good evening to all of you. Thank you so much, especially to all the gents for responding to my email and coming here in attendance. Sir is getting a little late because there is some meeting going on. So the madam is actually in a little bit of a hurry. So we are going to go ahead and start the program. And I would like you all to give her a really big round of applause and thank you. We're having a program in Wardha actually, and she came all the way from Wardha just to give us a presentation and to talk to us. So, sir and madam, thank you very much. So, like Devashri said, the actual date for Women's Day celebrations is marked as 8, but then every day is Women's Day. And so 15th or 18th or 19th, it doesn't matter when it's celebrated. So this is a continued celebration of women empowerment. Since ma'am is in a hurry, I'm not going to bore you anymore with my long speech. I'll just directly request madam to take over.
So before ma'am starts, I would like to take the privilege to introduce her. So it's a pleasure for me, as we all know, that our esteemed chief guest, Mrs. CSIR-NEERI, she's a famous mountaineer and director at the National Adventure Foundation Nagpur chapter. We had the pleasure of listening to Mrs. Deoskar last year, and her vibrant personality left us spellbound. We were so captivated by her presence that we couldn't resist inviting her again to join in today's celebration. Mrs. Deoskar stands as a prominent figure in India's adventure sports scene, having triumphed over some of the world's tallest peaks and accomplished feats that truly inspire us all. In 1994, Mrs. Deoskar was honored with the first National Adventure Award, the Government of India's highest national award for excellence in the field of adventure sports, for her remarkable achievements. Her adventurous spirit has led her to conquer peaks such as Mount Everest in Tibet, Mount Kamet in Uttarakhand, Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, and so on. Mrs. Deoskar had led numerous expeditions, and also she has undertaken challenging treks. Mrs. Deoskar's involvement in promoting adventure sports among youth and providing opportunities for underprivileged youth is truly commendable. Despite facing challenges and breaking barriers in fields traditionally dominated by a specific group, Mrs. Deoskar had risen above and become a symbol of courage and inspiration for all of us. We are honored to have you here, ma'am, today, and we are eagerly waiting for your words of amazing experiences. With this, I will now request ma'am to please share your experience.
महिला दिन के उपलक्ष्य में एक दो शब्द तो बोलना पड़ता है अपने को। हम अपनी मेहनत से अपनी प्रतिभा निखार लेंगे, हम अपनी मेहनत से अपनी प्रतिभा निखार लेंगे, हमें मंच मिले ना मिले, हम अपना मंच बना लेंगे। थैंक यू, आप लोगों ने मुझे दोबारा इस स्टेज में आने का मौका दिया और बार-बार आना चाहूंगी दिल्ली में। पिछली बार आई थी तो थोड़ा समय की कमी के कारण पूरा नहीं कर सकी। आज मैं कोशिश करूंगी कि जो मेरी जर्नी रही है इस पीरियड में, वैसे तो मैं करीब 40 इयर्स से इसी फील्ड में काम कर रही हूँ, लेकिन ये जो छोटी सी जर्नी है इसको मैं पूरा डिटेल में आपको बताना चाहूंगी कि कैसे हम उस सिचुएशन से बाहर निकले, कैसे हम बच के आए, 17 लोगों की जान कैसे बची, उसके बारे में मैं डिटेल में बात करूंगी। मैं विमला नेगी देउस्कर, मेरा जन्म नागपुरी जिला उत्तरकाशी उत्तराखंड में 1967 में हुआ और मैंने स्कूली शिक्षा गांव से की और उसके बाद मेरठ विश्वविद्यालय से मैंने एमए किया। 1984 में बचेंद्री पाल दीदी जो कि भारत की पहली महिला एवरेस्टर हुई, उनसे प्रेरणा लेकर मैंने माउंटेन अपना कैरियर शुरू किया। हेलो पिक सबमिट करने के बाद मेरी माउंटेन में रास्ता खुला मेरे लिए कहूंगी। उससे बहुत सारे एक्सपीडिशन किए। उसके बाद 92 में मेरी शादी हुई और मैं अपनी कर्मभूमि अविनाश के साथ नागपुर आ गई और वहां तब से मैं यहाँ पे काम कर रही हूँ। 90 से लेके 92 तक एक इंडो नेपलीज वुमेन एवरेस्ट एक्सपीडिशन अभियान जो एवरेस्ट के लिए जा रहा था उसकी लीडर बच्ची दीदी थी और उसमें मुझे मौका मिला, मैं उसमें गई लेकिन सबमिट नहीं हो पाया, मैं वापस आ गई वहां से। उसके बाद 10 साल तक इस माउंटेन फील्ड से करती रही, मेरी जिम्मेवारियां तो उसको पूरा करते रहे। ऐसे 10 सालों में मेरे 2 बेटों का भी जन्म हुआ। 2003 में फिर से मुझे एक अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिली माउंटेन में जाने के लिए। अर्गन कांगरी करके लेह में पहाड़ है, उसके लिए मैं गई और उस एक्सपीडिशन के द्वारा मुझे एक मेरा कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ा, मेरी हिम्मत बढ़ी, मुझे मेरा विल पावर स्ट्रांग हुआ। मुझे समझ में आया कि मैं फिर से इस फील्ड में काम कर सकती हूँ। 2008 में इंडियन माउंटेन फाउंडेशन जो एपेक्स वाटर माउंटेनियरिंग की उनका सिल्वर जुबली एक्सपीडिशन था और मुझे एज ए लीडर के रूप में उन्होंने सेलेक्ट किया। ये जो माउंटेन है टेक्निकली बहुत ज्यादा टफ पीक था और इसमें हम लोग 9 लोग थे जिसमें एक हमारे साथ डॉक्टर थी। डॉक्टर जो रहते हैं उनको पूरे पहाड़ में जाने का मौका नहीं मिलता क्योंकि उन्होंने कोई माउंटेन कोर्सेज नहीं किए रहते हैं। तो हम लोग 9 लोग में से 8 लोग जो थे वो 8 के 8 लोगों ने इस पीक को सबमिट किया और एक बड़ा रिकॉर्ड हम लोगों ने उस टाइम बनाया था। इंडियन माउंटेन फाउंडेशन में सतोपंत के अलावा बिरभू पंत है, भागीरथी 2 है, मनीराम में इस एक्सपीडिशन में भी लीड करने का मौका मिला था और मैंने वो भी सक्सेसफुली लीड किए हैं। इसके अलावा बहुत सारे एक्सपीडिशन मैंने किए। मैं माउंट मनीराम, माउंट मस्तान कांगरी, माउंट स्टॉप कांगरी, माउंट मनाली, माउंट लद्दाखी, माउंट क्षितिधर, माउंट सेंटर पीक, माउंट ब्लैक पीक, माउंट अभिगामिन, माउंट कामेट। केवल माउंटेनियरिंग ही नहीं बल्कि ट्रैकिंग का भी करने का मौका मिला। 2011 में लुनाना वैली भूटान में 400 किलोमीटर का ट्रैक जो कि स्नोमैन ट्रैक से वर्ल्ड फेमस है, वो करने का मौका मिला। ये एक्सपीडिशन जो था ये वर्ल्ड में पहली बार किसी लेडीज लोग ने पूरा किया। इसमें भी हमारे लीडर बचेंद्री पाल दीदी थी, उनके नेतृत्व में सक्सेसफुल हम लोगों ने ये सबमिट किया है। 2015 में तिब्बत से जाने का मौका मिला लेकिन फिर बैड लक कि नेपाल में जो 15 में अर्थक्वेक आया, तिब्बत साइड से और नेपाल साइड से दोनों साइड से सारे माउंटेनियरों को वापस भेज दिया था। जब वापस आई तो मुझे ईश्वर ने बहुत जल्दी वो मौका दिया कि मैं खुद न जा सकी लेकिन उन बच्चों को एक अपॉर्चुनिटीज मेरे द्वारा दिया गया। सोचूंगी उनको तैयार किया। 18 में 10 बच्चों को लेके गई थी जिसमें से 5 बच्चे चढ़े। 19 में फिर 11 बच्चों को लेके गई जिसमें कि 9 बच्चे चढ़े। और ये सब चीजों को हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जी ने मन की बात में भी मेंशन किया था। अफ्रीका में भी वहां का हाईएस्ट पीक है किलिमंजारो, वो सबमिट किया। रिसेंटली बचेंद्री दीदी के लीडरशिप में फिट एट 50 प्लस का जो 2022 का एक बड़ा मुहिम दीदी ने शुरू किया था कि लोगों को बताया जाए कि रिटायरमेंट के बाद भी आप अच्छी जिंदगी जी सकते हैं यदि आपकी इच्छा हो। हिमालय पूरा पहाड़ अरुणाचल से लेके लेह लद्दाख तक का हमने वो ट्रैकिंग किया, वो पूरा किया 2022 में। मेरे इन अनुभवों के दौरान मैं राष्ट्र निर्माण में युवाओं को लीडरशिप और स्किल डेवलपमेंट का काम कर रही हूँ और साथ ही साथ कॉर्पोरेट प्रोग्राम में टीम वर्क और पॉक्सो एक्ट के माध्यम से समाज को सशक्त करने का एक काम कर रही हूँ। ये मेरी छोटी सी जर्नी माउंटेन फील्ड का। मैंने पढ़ाई तो ज्यादा नहीं की, खाली एमए किया है पॉलिटिकल साइंस से, उसके बाद पढ़ाई नहीं की, पर यही पहाड़ चढ़ती रही और लोगों से मिलती रही, जुड़ती रही। ये एक्सपीडिशन जो अभी मैं शुरू कर रही हूँ, दिखा रही हूँ आपको, ये केदारनाथ की घटना आप लोग को मालूम होगा 2011 में केदारनाथ में जो घटना घटी थी उस समय का है। केदारनाथ को 13-14 हजार पे, मैं 19 हजार में बैठी थी जिससे ये केदारनाथ में फ्लड आया। तो कैसे अपने टीम को नेशनल इंडियन माउंटेनिंग फाउंडेशन जो एपेक्स बॉडी माउंटेनियरिंग जो कंट्रोल करती है पूरा हिमालय को माउंटेनिंग फील्ड से, मतलब कश्मीर से लेके अगर हम लोग अरुणाचल तक की बात करें तो जितने भी माउंटेन है जो माउंटेन क्लाइंबिंग के लिए जाते हैं वो सारा कंट्रोल करती है आईएमएफ। और आईएमएफ ही हमारा ऐसा एक बड़ी संस्था है जो कि अच्छे जो 2-3 प्रोग्राम ऐसे हमेशा हर साल कर देंगे लड़कियों को लड़कों को एक्सपीडिशन में भेजते हैं क्योंकि हिमालय के अंदर हजारों पहाड़ है। वो हजारों पहाड़ में भी अभी हजारों पहाड़ ऐसे हैं जो क्लाइंब नहीं हो चुके। तो हम लोग हर साल ऐसे 2-3 माउंटेन के लिए क्लाइंबिंग के जाते हैं। हमारा फील्ड बड़ा रिस्की फील्ड है, हमारा फील्ड बड़ा कॉस्टली फील्ड है। और कहना चाहिए कि जब ये समिट मेरा जब टीम डिसाइड करने की बारी आई तो मैं यही सोचती थी मुझे वो लड़के वो बच्चे चाहिए जो फिजिकली मेंटली स्ट्रांग हो। लेकिन बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि फिजिकली स्ट्रांग होने के बावजूद भी आर्थिक रूप से वो सशक्त नहीं होते हैं, इतने सक्षम नहीं हो सकते हैं कि वो उस हमारे फील्ड में आके खर्च कर सके। तो मैंने 12 स्टेट से 12 लड़कियों का सिलेक्शन किया था इस एक्सपेक्ट, तो मैं आगे आपको बताती रहूंगी।
कुदरत के उस भयानक तांडव को करीब से देखकर आए। फाउंडेशन के समिट में हिस्सा लेने गई नागपुर की मशहूर कलाकार भी बिना आईडी प्रकृति के भयानक तांडव को नजदीक से
सामने आई है। 12 किलोमीटर से ज्यादा की चढ़ाई करते और धीरे करके तूफान की तस्वीरें कैमरे में कैद
सब लोग जुड़ा तो पता चला कि बुलडा जहाँ खड़ा था लिटरली उसकी वजह से पकड़ गया उसकी रस्सी कट गई। ये उस वक्त की तस्वीरें हैं जब इन महिलाओं ने अपना सफर शुरू किया था। आप तस्वीरों में देख सकते हैं तब मौसम के साथ साथ सब कुछ कितना सामान्य था। जी हाँ, इस बर्फ के बीच कैसे फंसी इन महिलाओं की जिंदगियां और कैसे इन्होंने खौफ के हर पल को जिया। ये तस्वीरें उसी उत्तराखंड की है जहाँ सैलाब में न जाने कितनी जिंदगियां बह गई। हजारों लोगों का आशियाना छिन गया। जिस समय कुदरत पहाड़ों के बीच बसे इन गांवों में तबाही मचा रही थी, ठीक उसके कुछ समय पहले 12 महिला पर्वतारोहियों का एक ऐसे खौफ से सामना हुआ जिसके वहां उन्होंने जीने की उम्मीद छोड़ी थी। ये तस्वीरें उत्तराखंड की जमीन से 19,000 फीट की ऊंचाई पर भागीरथ 2 पर्वत पर ली गई है। इधर नीचे सैलाब अपना कहर बरपा रहा था तो ऊपर बर्फबारी और इतना बर्फ जिसका अंदाजा इन महिलाओं को नहीं था। तूफान से पहले की तस्वीर।
ये मेरी पूरी टीम है। हम लोग 17 लोग थे जिसमें 12 हमारे क्लैम्बर लड़कियां थी, एक मेरे साथ डॉक्टर थे और 4 मेरे साथ हैक होंगी जो हाई एल्टीट्यूड पोर्टर रखी चले साहब। ऐसे 17 लोगों का परिवार हमारा दिल्ली से हम आईएमएफ में सब लोग इकट्ठा हुए, ऑल इंडिया से अलग-अलग जगह से लड़कियां आई हुई थी। तो एक सेकंड नंबर पे जो उस साइड से बैठी इस लड़की के बारे में बताना चाहूंगी, हिमाचल से थी। तो मुझे पता चला कि लड़की बहुत स्ट्रांग है, बहुत अच्छी है, लेकिन पैसों के कारण वो कहीं जा नहीं सकती। तो मैंने उससे कांटेक्ट किया, मैंने कहा तुम आना चाहोगी? तो कहने लगे मैडम आना तो चाहूंगी लेकिन मुझे मिलेगा क्या? तो मैंने कहा हमारे फील्ड में तो कुछ नहीं मिलता, ना पैसा मिलता है, कुछ नहीं मिलता है। यदि आप आना चाहेंगे तो मैं इतना तो विश्वास दिलाती हूँ कि इस एक्सिबिशन में आने के कारण हो सकता है तुम्हारे द्वार खुल जाएंगे या तुम्हारे लिए और नई रास्ताएं बनेंगी। तो तुम आओ। तो ये इसने हाँ बोला, लेकिन मेरा एडवेंचर वहां से शुरू हो गया था क्योंकि मनाली से दिल्ली कभी आई नहीं थी। घर वाले परेशान हो गए कि दिल्ली कैसे भेजें। तो बहुत कन्विंस किया और वहां से हम लोगों ने जैसे कैसे उसको दिल्ली तक लेके आए। हमारा फील्ड बड़ा अलग फील्ड है, किसी स्पोर्ट्स से अगर तुलना करेंगे तो माउंटेनियरिंग बिल्कुल अलग है। माउंटेनियरिंग में एक माउंटेनियर को हर काम करना पड़ता है, उसको खाना भी बनाना है, टेंट भी लगाना है, अपने बर्तन भी धुलने हैं, लोड फेरी भी करना है, पानी भी लेके आना है, हर कुछ काम उसको करना है। जबकि दूसरा स्पोर्ट्स का अगर हम देखते हैं तो एक स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन को केवल अपना रैकेट बल्ला घुमाना पड़ता है, बाकी उसको चिंता नहीं रहती। लेकिन हमारे फील्ड में हर काम हर किसी को करना चाहिए। हम लोग उत्तरकाशी दिल्ली से निकले, उत्तरकाशी पहुंचे। उत्तरकाशी उत्तराखंड में एक जिला है। वहां पहुंचने के बाद यदि आपके फील्ड का कोई महारथी आपको मिलता है तो आपका हौसला बढ़ता है। मैं बड़ी लकी रही कि बचुंगी पाल जी वहां पे मिली और उन्होंने हमारी टीम को बहुत ही छोटी-छोटी बातें लेकिन बहुत जरूरी बातें बताकर हम उनसे आशीर्वाद लेके वहां से आगे निकले। गंगोत्री पहुंचे। गंगोत्री पहुंचने के बाद भागीरथी नदी के तट पर सुंदर गंगोत्री का मंदिर है। वहां पहुंचने के बाद एक स्वामी जी, अब तो इनकी डेथ हो गई, स्वामी सुंदरानंद सफेद कैप पहने हैं। कहते हैं कि इन्होंने स्कूल का कभी मुंह नहीं देखा, लेकिन इनकी किताब सिंगापुर से पब्लिश हुई। बहुत अच्छी फोटोग्राफी करते थे। राष्ट्रपति भवन में बहुत बार इनकी एग्जीबिशन लगी है। बहुत अच्छे ट्रेकर्स थे। तो मैं जब भी जाती थी उनसे आशीर्वाद लेके आगे निकलती थी। भागीरथी नदी के तट पर गंगोत्री का सुंदर मंदिर। और हमारा, मैंने आपको शुरू बताया, हमारा कोई बड़ा रिस्की है, कॉस्टली है। तो एक कहीं ना कहीं हम ईश्वर उस शक्ति को याद करते हैं जो हमें उस समय ताकत देते हैं, हौसला अंदर ही अंदर हमारा हौसला बढ़ता है। तो उस नदी के तट पर हमने बड़ी पूजा की और वहां से आगे निकले। ये मेरा पूरा टीम है, मेरी सारी टीम के लोग यहाँ पे आ गए थे। इसमें जरूर मेंशन करूंगी रेड टी शर्ट पहनी हुई मैडम का। ये मैडम एक साइंटिस्ट थी। तो कभी-कभी होता है, अब तो शायद में नहीं होता होगा, लेकिन तब होता भी था होगा कि चार दीवारी के अंदर बैठ के बड़े-बड़े डिसीजन ले लेते हैं, लेकिन जब प्रैक्टिकल करने जाते हैं तो फेल हो जाते हैं। मेरे साथ वही हुआ कि इन मैडम को भेज दिया था। ये साइंटिस्ट थी और बहुत अपने एजुकेशन अपने फील्ड में महारथी थी, वो बहुत एजुकेटेड थी और शायद इसीलिए उन्होंने भेजा भी होगी कि जाओ आप ग्लेशियर का रीडिंग करके आ जाना, इस ग्रुप के साथ चले जाओ, ग्लेशियर का रीडिंग करके आ जाना वो ग्लेशियर जहां से हमारी नदियां निकलती हैं। लेकिन सेम टाइम उन्होंने ये नहीं सोचा कि मैडम चल पाएगी या नहीं चल पाएगी। तो मेरे लिए प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो गया था कि मैडम चल ही नहीं पाती थी। तो फर्स्ट डे तो फर्स्ट डे ही समझ में आ गया था अब क्या होगा। मुझे ये लगने लग गया था कि जिस फील्ड में हम लोग जिस फील्ड के लिए हम लोग आए, जिस अचीवमेंट के लिए हम लोग आए, मेरे साथ तो वो लड़कियां हैं जिनको कभी अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं मिलती। एक छोटा सा गलत डिसीजन से कितना नुकसान हो सकता है मेरे को समझ में आने लग गया था। लेकिन मैडम का हौसला बढ़ा के हम ले चले, 2-3 दिन तक अपने साथ लेते गए। गंगोत्री से 5 किलोमीटर आगे जाने के बाद एक चेक पोस्ट है जहाँ पे फॉरेस्ट वाले पूरा चेकिंग करते हैं, कोई बाहर के लोग जा रहा हो या इंडियन लोग भी जा रहे हैं तो कितने दिन के लिए जा रहे हैं, कहीं कोई ऐसी कैजुअलिटी ना हो जाए जो हमको ऐसे रेस्क्यू करना पड़े। तो हर कुछ साथ में वहाँ पे चेकिंग होता है। बहुत सुंदर एक स्लोगन जन जन में गूंजी है नारा, प्रदूषण मुक्त प्रदेश हमारा। तो हमारे माउंटेनियरिंग फील्ड में ये स्पेशली बताया जाता है, समझाया जाता है कि आपको हर जगह साफ रखना है। हमको एक कीवी बैग दिया जाता है, जो कीवी पक्षी आपको मालूम होगा कचरा उठा के, तो हमको एक कीवी बैग दिया जाता था। हम कीवी बैग को अपने बैग से अपने कहीं पे उसको टांग देते थे, रास्ते भर में जो कचरा मिलता है उसको उसमें डालते हैं। तो मैं इस एक्सिबिशन के कारण, इस स्लाइड शो के कारण मैं सभी लोगों से अपील करती हूँ कि हमको कोई जरूरत नहीं है किसी की गंदगी उठाने का, क्यों किसी की भी गंदगी हम उठाएं, बाहर जाके क्यों कचरा उठाएं। लेकिन इतनी जिम्मेवारी तो हमारी सबकी बनती है, हम जहां भी जाते हैं, किसी सार्वजनिक प्लेस में जाते हैं, पब्लिक प्लेस में जाते हैं, तो अब कम से कम जो अपनी साथ जो आप कचरा लेके जा रहे हैं उसको वापस लेके आइए। तो मुझे लगता है कि हमारा देश वैसे ही सुंदर हो जाएगा। 9 किलोमीटर जाने के बाद, गंगोत्री से 9 किलोमीटर आगे जाने के बाद चिड़वासा करके जगह है जहाँ हमारा पहला टेंट लगना था, जहाँ पहली रात सोने वाले थे। तो कैंप साइट में ऐसे आपको देखना पड़ता है कि आप स्लोप कैसा है, पानी कैसा है, हवा का डायरेक्शन कैसा है। पीछे साइड में ऐसे तो नहीं कि लूज रॉक होंगे, फिर ऊपर जानवर जाते हैं वो रॉक गिरने से आपको एक्सीडेंट हो जाए। तो हर चीज का ध्यान रखना पड़ता है। और हर दिन हम नई जगह सोते हैं, हर दिन हमारी नई जगह, हमारी बस्ती है। यहाँ से निकलने के बाद मुश्किल भरा रास्ता, क्योंकि गंगोत्री के बाद तो पूरा ट्रैकिंग शुरू हो गया था। अब असली एडवेंचर हमारा शुरू हुआ। सबसे ज्यादा बड़ी एडवेंचर मेरे लिए था कि 37 लड़की को मैं लेके जाऊं तो कैसे लेके जाऊं। लेकिन वो खाली चल रही थी, उसके आगे पीछे लोग थे, हमारे क्लाइंबर लड़कियां थी, उसको वॉच आउट करके चिल्लाते थे, हौसला बढ़ाते थे, अब चलो चलो अब थोड़ा सा रह गया, थोड़ा सा रह गया। तो हम आगे निकले। आगे निकलने के बाद ये भुजबसा करके एक जगह है। इतिहास को हम लोग तो मिटा नहीं सकते। भुजबसा, भोजपत्र के जंगल, आप लोगों को तो मेरे से भी ज्यादा जानकारी होगी क्योंकि आप लोग उसी फील्ड साइंटिस्ट सभी लोग बैठे हुए हैं। तो मैं केवल अपना एक्सपीरियंस बता रही हूँ, साइंटिफिक कितना गलत हो कितना सही मुझे माफ कीजिएगा। लेकिन ये भुजबसा नाम है, कहते हैं भोजपत्र के जंगल हुआ करते थे किसी जमाने में। लेकिन आज अगर आप जाएंगे तो एक भी जंगल नहीं, एक भी पेड़ आपको नहीं मिलेगा। तो मैंने आपको कहा कि आप इतिहास को मिटा नहीं सकते, तो भुजबसा है, भोजपत्र के आधार पर उस एरिया को साफ करना हमारे टीम को कोई बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती थी। हमारी लड़कियां गई हो, लेकिन छोटा सा पुलिस चौकी है, वहाँ पे आश्रम है, गवर्नमेंटल विकास निगम का गेस्ट हाउस है, जो लोग आते हैं, रुड़की के कुछ साइंटिस्ट लोग यहाँ बैठे हुए रिसर्च कर रहे थे उस टाइम। तो यहाँ पे आने के बाद इन्होंने कचरा को साफ किया। बड़े बड़े टिन के डब्बे हैं, वो तो जलता ही नहीं है, तो उसको कूट कूट के छोटा करके किसी पत्थर के नीचे उसको डाल दिया। और ये मेरी टीम यहाँ पे अच्छे से, हम लोग 2 दिन यहाँ पे रुके, एक्लेमेटाइजेशन के लिए भी हमको करना था। पहली लड़की मेरी बीमार हो गई थी। हाई एल्टीट्यूड में सबसे ज्यादा ये है कि क्लाइंबिंग, हाई स्लीपिंग लोग, ये हमको प्रोसीजर करना पड़ता है क्योंकि एक्लेमेटाइजेशन का प्रॉब्लम आता है। लेकिन पहली लड़की बीमार हो गई तो मैंने उसको कहा कि आप ऐसा करो, आप लो एल्टीट्यूड में चले जाओ, आप गंगोत्री चले जाइए, 2 दिन रहना, किसी पोर्टर को लेके वापस आ जाना। साथ ही मैंने साइंटिस्ट को भी कहा, मैडम आप सीधा दिल्ली चले जाना, अब जो भी होगा मैं आने के बाद ही जवाब दूंगी, आप चले जाना। तो उनको सीधा मैंने दिल्ली भेजने के लिए बोला। लेकिन उसकी कहानी भी जब पीछे में आएगी तो आपको भी आश्चर्य लगेगा कि लोगों का कैसा, जहाँ अब मेरा होना चाहिए वाली बात आती है, वहाँ के सारे उनके नियम कानून बदल जाते हैं, सोच बदल जाती है। ऐसा होना नहीं चाहिए। हम लोग आगे निकले, यहाँ से आगे निकले, रास्ता मुश्किल भरा, मिट्टी है, पत्थर है, ग्लेशियर है पीछे, लेकिन एम एक है सबका, और उसी उद्देश्य के साथ सारे लोग आगे बढ़ रहे थे। छोटी छोटी जगहों पे एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट करना, एक दूसरे का मनोबल बढ़ाना, टीम वर्क है, माउंटेनियरिंग टीम वर्क के ऊपर टिका हुआ है। भागीरथी नदी का उद्गम स्थान गौमुख, यहाँ से भागीरथी नदी का उद्गम है, जहाँ से भागीरथी नदी निकलती है। हम लोग यहाँ बैठ के सोचते हैं कि अरे पॉल्यूशन कुछ नहीं है, लेकिन आप हिमालय में जाइए तो आपको भी समझ में आएगा कि क्या हो रहा है। हमारे पूर्वजों ने हमारे लिए बहुत कुछ छोड़ा है, क्या छोड़ के जा रहे हैं पता नहीं। ग्लेशियर को देख के भी डर लगता है कि कभी ये ग्लेशियर आज इतना जल्दी होगा नहीं, लेकिन कभी जो स्पीड से पीछे जा रहा है उसी स्पीड से अगर पीछे गया तो वो नदियों का क्या हाल होगा जो इस ग्लेशियरों से निकलते हैं। भागीरथी नदी जो आगे जाके गंगा नदी के नाम से जानी जाती है, उस नदी का क्या होगा जहाँ जिसके किनारे पे हजारों लाखों लोग रहते हैं, क्या सिचुएशन होगा सोच के ही हम काम चाहते हैं, डर लगता है। पीछे मेरा पीक जो मेरे को क्लाइम करना था भागीरथी, तो मैं ऑलरेडी इसको क्लाइम कर चुकी थी, शादी से पहले कर लिया था मैंने इसको क्लाइम। लेकिन इस बार जब मुझे इंडियन माउंटेन फाउंडेशन ने कहा कि आप IMF ने कहा कि आप इसको लीड करोगे, तो मैंने उसको एक्सेप्ट किया कि ठीक है, तब मैं एक मेंबर के रूप में गई, अब मुझे एक लीडर के रूप में जाना है, तो मैंने कहा ठीक है मैं जाऊंगी। अब मैंने उसको एक्सेप्ट कर आगे निकले। बहुत सुंदर पहाड़, शेप के आधार पर इन पहाड़ों के नाम है, बहुत जगह तो शेप के आधार है, बहुत जगह ऐसे भागीरथी 1 2 3 रखा है, कहीं गंगोत्री 1 2 3 है। और आप अरुणाचल साइड में जाएंगे तो माछी पूछी भी पहाड़ है, जो कि मच्छी की पूछ के जैसा सेब है। तो ये माउंटेन का नाम शिवलिंग, कहते हैं कि दुनिया के सुंदर पहाड़ों में माउंटेन शिवलिंग का नाम आता है। और आप चारों तरफ से देखेंगे तो ऐसे ही शेप है। क्लाइम कर चुके हैं, काफी लोग अभी क्लाइम कर चुके हैं। रास्ता मुश्किल भरा रास्ता बना नहीं होता है, आपको रास्ता डायरेक्शन देके आगे निकलना होता है। तो आगे से एक हमारा क्लाइंबर जा रहा है, वो सिर्फ आगे आगे जाता है, तो अब वो उससे नीचे चला जाएगा तो हमको दिखेगा नहीं वो कहाँ चला गया। तो वहां पे हम लोग एक पत्थर के ऊपर एक पत्थर दूसरा तीसरा ऐसा बना देते, उसको कैरन कहते हैं। वो उसको हमको डायरेक्शन दिखाता है। ग्लेशियर जहाँ पे क्रेवासेस है, वो बड़ा डर लगता है जब हिडन हो जाता है, फ्रेश स्नो पड़ता है, ऊपर से पतली सी लेयर जम गई और आपको पता ही नहीं, आप चलते चलते बहुत बार ऐसा एक्सीडेंट हुआ है, हमारे माउंटेनियर लोग इसके अंदर फंस गए, मर गए, ऐसी कंडीशन आई है। तो बड़ा रिस्की हो जाता है। रास्ता बहुत मुश्किल, देखिए जहाँ पे मिट्टी है, पत्थर है, पानी है, बर्फ है, आइस है, स्नो है, गीला है, कीचड़ है, वो सबसे बेकार होता है चलने में। या तो पत्थर ही पत्थर हो या मिट्टी मिट्टी हो, तुम्हारे जूते भी अलग अलग हो जाते हैं। स्नो आइसी ऐसे होंगे तो हम अलग जूते पहन लेते हैं, लेकिन जहाँ ये सिचुएशन होता है वहां बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है। बहुत दूर एक माउंटेन खर्चपुर, ये पहाड़, इसको फॉरनर लोग बहुत क्लाइंबिंग करने के लिए आते हैं, क्योंकि ये टेक्निकल रूप में बहुत टफ पीक है। तो बिल्कुल ये पहाड़ के बाजू में आप देख रहे हैं डोम जैसा है, केदार डोम। केदार डोम के पीछे ही केदारनाथ मंदिर था। तो एरियल डिस्टेंस में बहुत नजदीक थे और घूम के जाते तो 2-3 दिन हमको लगता। ये मेरा बेस है जहाँ पे टेंट लगे हुए हैं। यहाँ पे जब हम लोग हमारी टीम पहुंची तो ऑलरेडी 2 टीमें वहां पे पहुंची हुई थी, जिसमें एक अमेरिकन टीम थी और एक इंडियन टीम थी। इंडियन टीम क्लाइम करने के लिए गई हुई थी और अमेरिकन क्लाइम कर दिया था, वो वापस निकलने वाले थे 2-3 दिन में, लेकिन अमेरिकन टीम हमारे साथ क्लाइम करने वाले थे। एक छोटा सा पॉन्ड, एक छोटा सा तालाब, आकार में देखें तो कितना छोटा है, लेकिन उसकी गहराई का अंदाजा नहीं लगा सकते। ग्लेशियर के अंदर था ये तालाब कि आप और हमने केदारनाथ की घटना आज भी हम याद करते हैं, हमारे रोटे खड़े जाते हैं। मिनटों में हजारों लोग कहाँ चले गए पता नहीं। कहते हैं कि केदारनाथ मंदिर के पीछे एक छोटा सा था पॉन्ड बना, बाद में जब वो फूटा तो उसका रौद्र रूप हम लोगों ने सबने टीवी पे देखा। ये मैंने आपको शुरू में बताया कि एक पत्थर के ऊपर दूसरा तीसरा ऐसा हम कैरन बना के चलते हैं कि आगे वाला पीछे वाले उसको फॉलो करके आगे निकलते हैं। और जहाँ कुछ नहीं है, सुनसान है, वीरान है, वहाँ छोटे से फूल भी आपको खुशियां देख के जाता है। वो नजरिया आपका अपना अपना रहता है। तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है छोटे छोटे फूलों को देख के खुशी होती है। नाला, छोटे छोटे नाले, दोपहर के बाद पानी, क्योंकि गर्मी के कारण बर्फ पिघलने लगती है और वो सारा नाले बड़े हो जाते हैं, वो नदियां बड़े रूप में आ जाती है, क्रॉस करना मुश्किल हो जाता है। इसलिए हम लोगों को हमेशा हमारा ट्रेनिंग का पार्ट ये है कि 2 बजे तक जहाँ तक पहुंचे नहीं तो वापस आ जाओ, अपने सेफ जगह पे आ जाइए। तो ऐसा है। और माउंट शिवलिंग का जो स्नोफॉल के बाद का ये स्लाइड लिया हुआ है, हमारे टाइम का ही स्लाइड है। जब हम लोग बेस में हम हर दिन चलते हैं। बेस पहुंच, जैसे एवरेज बेस कैंप आप लोगों ने बहुत बार कहानियां सुनी होंगी, तो एवरेज बेस कैंप जाने तक कोई रुकता नहीं, आज एक कैंप है, दूसरा तीसरा ऐसा करते हैं। लेकिन बेस में पहुंचने के बाद फिर आप आराम से 2-3 दिन आराम करते हैं, आपका सामान खुलता है, आपका लोड बढ़ता है। तो ये मेरा बेस है। यहाँ जब हम लोग पहुंचे तो ये येलो टेंट आप थोड़ा सा याद रखिएगा। यहाँ जब हम लोग पहुंचे तो मेरे 35 वोटर मेरे साथ आए थे, क्योंकि हमको 1 महीना रहना था। 1 महीने के लिए हमने खाना लिया, 17 लोग का खाना बनेगा, हमारा इक्विपमेंट है, हमारा बाकी टेंट है, हमारे सारी चीज सामान है। तो 35 वोटर्स ने हमारा सामान यहाँ पे कर वो वापस चले गए। इसी बीच मेरी जो 2 लोगों को नीचे भेजा था, उसमें से एक को तो मैंने कह दिया था मैडम आप वापस चले जाइए। लेकिन जो दूसरी दीदी थी वो वापस आई, रिपोर्टर ने आते हुए मुझे कहा कि मैडम आपके ना ये मेंबर जो गए थे वो वापस आ गए। मैं तो वापस आ गए तो एक ही आई, उन्होंने बोले नहीं 2 आ गए। तो मुझे बड़ा आश्चर्य लगा कि अरे मैडम को तो मैंने वापस भेज दिया था, वो क्यों वापस आई। लेकिन सिचुएशन देख के आपको ऐसी जगह पे जहाँ आपके पास इतना परफेक्ट होना चाहिए कि आप इसमें से अगर एक भी इक्विपमेंट आपका दिल्ली छूट गया तो आप दिल्ली वापस नहीं जा सकते हैं। आपका प्लानिंग इतना परफेक्ट होना चाहिए कि आपका बजट आगे इतना बड़ा ज्यादा ना हो जाए, क्योंकि हम इंडियन लोगों के बजट वैसे ही छोटा रहता है। तो वो बजट हमको उसी बजट के अंदर ही काम करना है। लेकिन इक्विपमेंट ऐसा ना हो जाए कि आपका दिल्ली छूट गया, इक्विपमेंट के कारण आपकी एक्सपीडिशन फेल जाए, तो फिर दुनिया उंगली उठाती है। उस समय हमको बड़ा अलर्ट रह के काम करना पड़ता है। सारे सामान हम लोगों ने दिल्ली से लाए हुए सामान सारा यहाँ पे बेस में आके चेक होता है। बेस में सारा खुलता है, राशन खुलता है और हर मेंबर को हर काम करना है। खाना भी बनाना है, लोड फेरी भी करनी है, टेंट भी लगाना है, पानी भी लाना है, कहीं पानी नहीं है तो पानी भी बनाना है, हर काम हर मेंबर को करना है। तो सारे लोग माउंटेनियर उसमें सर हर किसी को हर काम करना है, बोलने की जरूरत नहीं रहती, काम देखो और काम करो। खाने का स्टाइल बदल जाता है क्योंकि जैसे-जैसे हाइट बढ़ती है वैसे-वैसे हमारा दाल-चावल बनता नहीं है, पानी हमको मिलता नहीं है, आइस को ढूँढ के लाके फिर हम लोग पानी बनाते हैं, तो उसमें दाल-चावल कहाँ से पकेगा? तो ये सारा प्लानिंग हमको दिल्ली में बैठ के अगर आपका 45 दिन का एक्सपीडिशन कोई है, माउंटेन में आप 30वें दिन आप कहाँ पे रहेंगे, क्या खाएँगे वो दिल्ली में आपको पता रहना चाहिए। इतनी बारीकी से हमारी प्लानिंग रहती है, सारा सामान यहाँ पे खुला, सारा सामान दोबारा से लोड बनता है, हर कैंप में कौन-सा सामान पहले जाएगा, कौन से बाद में जाएगा। जब यहाँ पे हम लोग पहुँचे तो 12 लोगों की टीम माउंटेनियरिंग में बड़ी टीम मानी जाती है क्योंकि जितनी बड़ी टीम उतना ही बड़ा रिस्क, उतना ही ज़्यादा रिस्क उठाना पड़ता है। तो मेरी तो 12 लोगों की टीम थी, तो अब मुझे ये 12 लोगों की टीम को 2 पार्ट में बाँटना था। तो हमारे यहाँ ऐसा टीम बन गई या बाँट दो ऐसा नहीं रहता। हमको उनका परफॉर्मेंस को देखते हैं और उस परफॉर्मेंस के आधार पर ही उनका सिलेक्शन दोबारा से करते हैं। लेकिन हम उस जगह पे हैं जहाँ ज़िंदगी और मौत को हमने बहुत बार, बहुत नज़दीक से देखा। तब कहीं न कहीं उस शक्ति को याद करते हैं जो हमारे मनोबल अंदर ही अंदर बढ़ाते हैं। तो हम लोग ने एक बड़ी पूजा की, आगे निकलने वाले बच्चों को आशीर्वाद दिया, वहाँ से ये लोग निकले। 10 जून को सूरज में ऐसा नहीं दिखा, मैं साइंटिस्ट नहीं हूँ, मुझे नहीं मालूम, लेकिन इस स्लाइड को मैंने बहुत सारे टीवी चैनल में देखा। मैंने ही नहीं किया, काफ़ी लोगों ने उस को किया है। माउंटेन भरण, जो वहाँ की माउंटेन गोट लोकल भाषा में भरण बोलते हैं हम लोग और वैसे माउंटेन गोट के नाम से जाना जाता है। बड़ा शाही जानवर है, लेकिन आप अगर उस जगह पे थोड़ा-सा नमक डाल दीजिए तो नमक खाने के लिए वो आ जाते हैं और नमक खा के, चाट के फिर वापस कैसे हमको समझ में आती है, कैसे पता चलता है कि इन्होंने अभी नमक यहाँ पे डाल दिया है, नमक चाट के वो फिर वापस चले जाते हैं। समय मुश्किल भरा जब 2 टीमों में हमारी जब 2 या 3 ग्रुप में हमारी पूरा टीम बढ़ जाता है तो बड़ा दुःख भी होता है कि सब अलग-अलग चले गए अब आगे का समय मुश्किल भरा। ऐसे समय पे जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा स्नो है, आइस है ही देख रहे हैं, आप उस चीज के लिए फिट हो जाते हैं, तो हमेशा पॉजिटिव रहिए। थैंक यू, आप लोगों ने मुझे यहाँ बुलाया।
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for sharing your wonderful experience and just such a motivational talk. Hats off to your commitment and showing us that shortest route never helps you in reaching any peaks, and how positivity and faith are such an important value in our life. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing this. I now request our director, CSIR-NEERI sir, to present a token of gratitude to our guest. Now, we'll proceed forward to the panel discussion of our next session on inspiring inclusivity in the workspace.
I think we'll say bye to ma'am first. She needs to leave. So let us just as well. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
मैडम जैसे आप बस another inspiring session. मेरे को भी सुनना था, very inspiring. Thank you.
Poonam, program is not over.
So now we'll move to our next very exciting session today's. The discussion will be on inspiring inclusivity in a workspace. So today's program welcomes eminent guests from various fields of commemorate the Women's Day with the theme inspiring inclusivity. The theme resonates deeply with the essence of progress and empowerment. It emphasizes the importance of creating an environment where diversity is not only acknowledged but celebrated, and where every individual, regardless of gender, feels valued, respected, and included. Embracing diverse perspectives, experiences, and backgrounds enriches organizations, fuels innovation, and drives sustainable growth. It allows for the nurturing of talent irrespective of gender, opening doors for everyone to reach their full potential. With this brief overview of the theme of today's program, I request Dr. Kapte to escort the panelists to the dais. I request Director Sir to present a flower to all the dignitaries, all the panelists.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I request Dr. Ma'am to present the flower to all the dignitaries.
One for you also.
For me.
As a panelist.
So now I take the pleasure introducing our panelists and very brief. So we have today with us the IS officer Anshul Goyal. She is currently Additional Commissioner, Nagpur Municipal Corporation. She is a 2014 batch IS officer known for her exemplary service and leadership. With a background in electronics engineering from Chandigarh, she has held several key positions prior to her current role. Welcome, ma'am. We have Dr. Radha Munje, with a distinguished career as a former Dean of IGG-MCH Nagpur. Dr. Munje is a renowned expert with her extensive academic background in respiratory medicine and infectious disease. I welcome you, ma'am. have a very eminent Dr. Vigyan Verma, Director, Institute of Management Technology, who is a distinguished academician and finance expert with a rich background as a finance professor at XLRI and senior investment banker at J. Morgan Stanley. I heartily welcome you, sir. We also have Professor Pramod Padore, Director, JNIT Nagpur. Dr. Padore has served JNIT diligently in various administrative capacities and has excelled in teaching, research, and administration, earning recognition for his vibrant personality and dedication to societal benefit. We are lucky to have you, sir, today. Welcome, sir. We also have our director, CSIR-NEERI, Dr. Atul Redya, and our moderator of today's panel is Dr. Adya Kapde, ma'am, who is the Chief Scientist, NEERI. So, ma'am, handing over to you.
Thank you, Dimishri. Good evening, all. Once again, welcome to the panel discussion. Dimishri has already introduced our panelists to you, so I'm not going to do that again. You know, a couple of days back, actually around the 8th, some of the younger generation were asking me, that every time, Women's Day comes, we say Happy Women's Day. It's just like saying Happy Diwali, Happy Holi, Happy Shivratri. So what's the real significance, behind this? It comes and goes just like any other day. But that's not true, that is their youth that is speaking. For people of my generation and the generation before me, we can really see how much progress has come up, women empowerment. Actually, this should not have been so. Where the society has disintegrated so much that we need, to empower one half of the society is actually mind-boggling. There's no reason. But still we are in this condition, and women empowerment is being taken up. It's also one of the SDG goals, as all of you are aware. But the main thing is that, I said in my mail today, society is made up of two pillars, men and women. If one of this pillar weakens, then the whole society, the ecosystem entirely crumbles. So it's very important that everyone, even the men, are included as part of this Women's Day program. And so thank you for all of you who have attended this program today. So when, as a member of the OWSD, that is the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World, I get the opportunity to interact with women scientists all across the globe, from developing countries. This is a unit of UNESCO, so we have representatives from the Arab world, from Africa, from Latin America, and of course Asia. And let me tell you that we at India are far better than many of the other countries. And that is something we really need to be thankful for. We have so many programs from the government of India that allow women to take a career break and then come back into their workspace, which is not available in other countries. Some of my Arab colleagues, they say that today we go to the university and tomorrow there could be no university there, it would have been bombed out. So with all those kind of struggles, they are still coming up and becoming professors and teaching. So it's not just, Happy Women's Day, it doesn't end there. There's a lot of struggle that has come to make you say that. Last year's theme was to embrace equity, because everyone doesn't stand on the same starting line. So, and then a progression to that, this year's theme is to inspire inclusivity. And that is my first question to all the panelists. Now, the first question will be common to all, because the theme of Women's Day is to inspire inclusivity. So we would say, inclusiveness, which means free of bias, any stereotype or anything in your workplace. So this is my question. We will start with Asha Madam here and go down the line like this. And so the first question is this, Madam.
Thank you. I think I'll start with answering that question inclusive workspace, what do you think constitutes an inclusive workspace? I think there'll be two components to it. One will be the structural aspect and another will be a cultural aspect. So structurally, I believe, like Atya Madam just mentioned, that the fact that there is no bias in terms of recruitment, in terms of pay, in terms of training, workshop, in terms of capacity building. Of course, we treat men and women as equals in the government setup, in the bureaucracy, if I may say so. Uh, but when we talk about the fact that culturally, do we provide an inclusive workspace? I think that involves a lot of effort from both the genders. Women are being taken seriously now. Women's opinions are being taken very seriously now. Whenever a woman stands up in my organization, for example, in the current posting that I'm in, if somebody stands up for certain things, she's heard. This was not the case earlier, which would earlier be of a dismissive thing that, coming from a woman, something can be dismissed, but now that's not no longer a reality. Another thing is, whenever you come to cultural things, I feel in the organizational setup that I work in, there are many women in the workforce now, but whenever it comes to leadership positions, we're still not ready to handle women in leadership positions. I'm sure that's changing. I would just mention that in my batch of 150 IS officers, the number of girls that we were when we were recruited as girls, we were 60 of us. So that is a huge number when we come to women in leadership positions as well. So I'm sure along with structural changes, cultural changes will come up in the future and ensure that inclusive workspace is created for everyone.
The question is a very apt question. Appropriate to the theme. First, I would like to say something about inclusiveness. It's not a personal opinion. It should be applicable to all. It should come from within. So it's not making somebody to lead the team, making somebody to work with you because of gender bias or because he or she is from different gender. It should come from within. Last year on the same platform, I asked about two questions. How many of us are comfortable when you see your pilot is lady pilot? How many of you are comfortable from inside? Or even don't think who is the pilot? Difficult question, you answer yourself. Number two, how many of us would accept a lady general or army general to be a lady? How many of us would accept? Ask this question to yourself, and if answer is positive, you are inclusive. By heart, if you think yes, you have some problems, still you are not inclusive. So inclusiveness is basically coming from within. And that thought itself should go off. That this position is only for males or this position is only for ladies. Fortunately, in scientific field, this discrimination is not to that extent. And I am working in NEERI since long, more than 35 years now. I've seen many lady scientists around. But as a CSR, I can still say that as Goel Madam has said, leadership position. I joined this system in 88 or 89 probably, and I saw first lady director in CSR system in 2013 or 14. When IST got its first lady, or CSR got its first lady director. And CSR was established in 42, everybody knows that. So this is the time which we need to get inclusive. And probably 2 years back, we got first lady director general. Right now we have a leader who is a lady, well accepted leadership, and all of us are working with her without any hassles. And now CSR, at least there are 7 or 8 laboratories out of 37 where directors are ladies. That number should go to 15, 20 at least. So what I want to say is that despite in the scientific field, where gender bias should not be there, And there are many examples of lady scientists, even the philosophers throughout the year. Inclusiveness will take time, it will take still more time. But in NEERI and in CSR system, as far as I accept the leadership thing, which I partially agree with my previous government, I agree with her partially, but inclusiveness at leadership level is still yet to come. But yes, at other levels, we are quite inclusive in science, and we don't feel that our colleague or our head of the division or any committee chairperson, at least in NEERI or in CSR system, if it is a lady or if it is some gents for gents, it doesn't make any difference no longer. Thank you.
Oh, I think this.
Good evening. It's a privilege to be here in such a beautiful campus. So, thank you, Dr. Akhtar. Thank you, sir, for inviting me for this panel discussion. Let me start with a bit of light words and all. Well, I'm not George Orwell or I'm not Nostradamus, but I can predict maybe another 50 years, 100 years down the line, the world will be ruled by women. That's the kind of thinking the way the world is changing is absolutely phenomenal. With the kind of speed everywhere things are changing. I'm from an education industry and I'm from a business school. And I see day and night the kind of changes. There's absolutely no difference between a man and a woman, a boy and a girl at all. Most of the recruiters who come to the campus are women. Most of the students who are getting selected first are girls. They're the girls. And they're doing so well in the industry. The entire corporate, Flipkart or Capgemini or Infosys, if you look at the proportion of the girls or women working in these corporations are humongous. Most business schools, the entire education industry, the entire healthcare industry is full of women. That's the power, and that's the reason why these industries are doing so well. Clearly, they have the clear advantage that we just do not differentiate at all. Here at IIT Nagpur, I believe, and we all believe in Mahatma Gandhi, when he said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Now, if we want to talk about inclusivity, if we want to talk about women empowerment, we must begin at our own institution. So what do? In order to make sure that more and more girl students take admission, we've given a clear 20% scholarship to them. Anyone who gets admitted in my institution, the entire fee, without deducting any cost at all, 20% scholarship is given to them. That's the advantage we get. Other than that, there's so many things which we do on the campus just to make sure that there's absolutely no difference between a boy and a girl. And that's where we empower them, and that's where we tell them, look, you're the one who's going to make the changes to the whole world as such. That's what we do here on the campus at IIT Nagpur.
Thank you, team NEERI, for having me here for this program. And yes, I echo what Achal Madam said, that being in the government sector, we are open to recruiting people as well as retaining them as long as they are qualified enough and do justice to their own post. But apart from that, I would like to say that inclusivity is at places is in pockets. There are areas where the field from which I come, I'm a doctor. So naturally, we know. I would ask a question just like what Dr. Atul has said. How many of you would be comfortable going under a knife of a cardiac surgeon? People are happy having lady gynecologist, but would you be happy to have a cardiac surgeon who operates on you, or a neurosurgeon who is going to operate and happens to be a lady? I'm not talking about the comfort or the confidence that you have, but I just want to underline that it continues to be a reality. I do not know whether it's a challenging job and that is why it's not being taken up. I don't know, but then there are pockets. Apart from that, if at all somebody does opt for branches like orthopedics, cardiac surgeries, or even neurosurgery, I think they would be the best to comment, because I'm sure they would be having issues of inclusivity, because that is something which has come just out of, as a surprise, because I haven't come across many of these people in these areas. But in medical field, I think inclusivity has always been there, and people are quite, have open hands and open mind, also and open heart to have all their colleagues as well as superiors, even if they are from the fairer gender, they do not mind. That is what has been my experience. We have come a long way. Most of us have been so much influenced by Sudha Murthy's talks of how she entered an engineering college and how she wrote to JRD. But we have come a long way from that. I'm sure very few of us who are skilled and qualified would really find it tough in their workplace. There might be some exceptions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Madhuri Pendarkar. So first of all, thank you, Ata ma'am, for giving me a chance to join this program. So I come from a corporate sector. I'm working as Director of Engineering at Findar International, which is a software product development company in Nagpur. So when we talk about corporate sector, I see a good amount of inclusivity already being implemented in the corporate sector as of now. Of course, there is a lot more to do, but I'll just brief a few points that we do at our organization. So at our organization, so we believe in implementing the inclusivity strategies right from the we believe to start from the top. So the top level management, the leadership at my organization, they are very clear as to how the inclusivity is to be implemented in our organization, and because of their clear vision, they are able to percolate this thought right to the bottommost level of employees. And ultimately, inclusivity has to be in the DNA and culture of the company. That is what I believe. It's not like some target has to be made, but it has to be your culture, and then ultimately it will happen. That is my thought. The first point where we begin is we have inclusive hiring strategy, wherein we try to get diverse workforce at our place with different experiences, different background, different skills, along with inclusivity in the gender. So this helps us bring a different approaches, different perspectives on the table, and that ultimately helps us to make better decisions. So that is something that we believe what inclusivity is. For women especially, so we try to give a safe and healthy, better working environment for the women. So we have implemented POSH policies in our organization, which ensures every woman that she gets a safe working place. That is very important these days, I feel. Along with that, we have very much open door and open feedback policy. So we encourage all the employees to, give very honest feedback to the senior management without any hesitance. So when the employees feel that they are being heard, it gives a sense of belongingness and inclusivity to the employees. So this policy is helping us a lot, I feel, at both for both the genders, I would say, not only for women, but men and women both. And finally, on women empowerment, so we are implementing a lot of strategies for women employment. Um, may it be like the equality, pay and promotions. Then we have enough work from home facilities which help women to take care of both the aspects. Then we have flexible working hours which help women to maintain the work-life balance in their lives. We do conduct a lot of employee engagement activities wherein we encourage women to come up with their talent in activities like art and sports, etc., which generally otherwise they don't get a chance to showcase. So these are some of the things that we do at our place to implement inclusivity. And I suppose that it's helping us a lot and we are seeing the results of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. As Adya said that there are two pillars of the society, the men and women. Here also I'm seeing that 50% of the gents and 50% women. So here itself we are having the inclusiveness. As far as inclusiveness is concerned, but I feel that the organizations about whether it is NEERI or government medical college or VNIT or maybe corporate sector, there I suppose it is already there. We will have to think whether this inclusiveness is there in the community level. That is more important.
As far as reality is concerned, all these things, we have got all inclusiveness, uh, the education institute which are of this level. I don't think there is any problem as such. Of course, we treat equally to all. And at the same time, we also try to provide some sort of environment so that the women are also sort of motivated. It's just a motivation. Otherwise, they are all equally good. In fact, I will say, as he rightly said, that they are having more qualities than men. So that we should admit. I will admit at least here at the university. Uh, Recently, we were having our first Dean Academic lady, Professor Chaudhary. Not that she was a woman, but then she handled the electrical engineering department earlier very nicely, so she naturally become the choice for the Dean Academic. We have got many associate dean who are women, and particularly associate dean electrical maintenance. They are first time in the history of DNIT she became the leading professor. We have got many other women who are at the top positions. Then last to last year, what we did is there was a committee for admission. The first year admission process is quite complicated and a lot of responsibility is there. But I tried for the first time that whole committee was women committee. But we didn't declare as such, but all the members of those committees were women and they did excellently without any problem. So I think that at this level there is no issue as such. Whether you provide the environment like that or not, they will create it. So there is no question of providing the environment of equality and these things. They will grab it. Only thing is that at the lower level, particularly at the community level, at the rural level, we have to think and we have to do some special effort so that they also come to this level. This is what happened. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So you can see, that it's very heartening to note that all the panelists, they are all leaders, also by position in their respective institutes, and everyone is understanding that inclusivity is the way to go. So it's very good. So we move on now. So we will still take this route. So Achal madam.
You can change it random.
So Achal madam, NMC is like a very male-dominated space. NEERI has been coming to NMC for many, many years now for work and things like that. So I think you're the first lady I'm seeing at that position. Additional commissioner has there have been. Okay. What I would like to ask you, you said that you are trying to get in the women first, but according to you, what are the advantages that you feel that would be in NMC if we had more women in the workforce?
Thank you. I have to actually think over that question when you posed it to me. So I will not talk particularly about NMC, but wherever I have been posted till now, normally I'm in a meeting with women in minority, and that would mean only me, and other would be majority of them would be men in the same room. But I feel this male domination and all, it's all in the psyche. If I would see myself, I was district collector before this, and if I would have always seen myself as a lady collector, then I would have probably thought over it again and again. I'm just a district collector, and I'm in this responsibility, and this is the job that I've got to do. I never thought so. This psyche is first that domination about male domination in a particular room, or this thing should go from should be actually eliminated from our thoughts. That is what I feel should be done before. And if I talk about what advantages a woman workforce would actually bring to the whole setup, I think I would also like to say, because I have many young girls here, that I have never shied away from saying that I'm a woman as well wherever need be. I have responsibilities, I am accepting it, and the world should also be accepting it that I am a woman and I have responsibilities beyond work as well. So I've never shied away from that as well, despite saying that so both the things would actually seem contradictory. The first thing that I said that I never looked at myself as a lady, but then I have been able to show my vulnerabilities at places where I felt that this is supposed to be heard, and this will actually, I will not say how will the people who are working under me would be free and have an environment which would encourage them to fulfill both the responsibilities entrusted to them. So the advantages of course, having a women workforce, I think they are multifold. I think nobody, with all due respect to men and boys present here, like everyone said that we have, women I feel are naturally blessed. We are multitaskers. We are very good at time management. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. We're able to juggle so many things. We look at things much beyond, like if I have a paper before me which says कि sign नहीं करना है ऐसा वाला, but I feel that women are able to see things much beyond that paper and would actually they don't think see everyone feels that probably she's a lady तो ये थोड़ा emotional रहेंगी तो वैसे वैसे विषय हमारे सामने आते हैं those kind of issues they would put before us कि she's a lady she would be emotional. Okay, I'm emotional but I'm not impractical or I'm not I will find out solutions for certain things that need my attention. So the only point that I'm trying to make here is that the inherent qualities of a woman actually increase the efficiency of the whole system is what I feel. And I feel that mostly in many environments, in a typical government environment, if I would say, like Madam also spoke about posh committees being established, Vishaka committees being established to just hear out what a lady has to say in a particular establishment. I feel that all of us have a responsibility to provide an enabling environment for everyone who's working around, irrespective of gender. You also asked about the fact that whether we should, whether efforts are being made to increase women workforce in the government. We've never had a differential policy when it comes to recruitment. It's always been based on qualification and merit, and whoever gets selected, irrespective of the gender, would be there because that would actually encourage some gender stereotyping as well, role stereotyping as well. So, in fact, when you said that NMC is male dominated, I would like to put on record that 60 to 70% of our workforce is actually females. But that would, again, a rider to it is that we have Safai Kamgars, which are about 8,000. We have teachers, then we have our nursing staffs. So all of them, because of the stereotyping that has been done, are female dominated. So after about, if I have say 20,000 workforce with me, about 12,000 would be women, which again are down the ladder. They are not coming up like I expressed in the earlier comments as well. That women will eventually transition to class 2, class 1 posts, and then you will see a better balance when it comes to the composition of our workforce.
Thank you, ma'am. And the rider is there, which is why you have such a huge women percentage. Leadership, like Dr. Vaidya said, is still lacking. We are of course taking steps like our first DG we have now as a lady. So that's a great step. And soon you will one day, I'm sure, be reaching that position. You know, the WhatsApp encyclopedia has been spewing out all these things on Women's Day. Every year, Women's Day comes, so WhatsApp is always flooded with these kind of messages. How women are so multi-talented and how God was so partial.
and we made women so great and blah blah and all that. I'm sure all of you must have got these kind of messages. But the reason why inclusivity was included as the theme this year is very specifically to address what we call this broken rung ladder. So we have women in the workforce, but for them to reach managerial levels, the first two rungs of the ladder are already broken. So it makes it much more difficult to directly jump to the third ladder. But moving on, Dr. Vaidya. So UNESCO data says that there are only 16% women in science in India. So if you as a director had an opportunity to make recommendations to CSIR, how would you change this scenario?
First of all, yes, 16% can be challenged. It is low. And that too, it is as Dr. Purove has already told and already pointed out. It is the rural sector which is lacking. 16% urban sector, yes, there is no discrimination as such, and many girls, and I see more girls in science fiction, especially in urban areas, but that is not true in rural areas, and I happen to move a lot in rural areas too. There you need to promote science in the ladies or in the girls. First of all, I have read a book, I really don't remember, I think I might have probably I'm reiterating or might have said this. The basic thing which led to this discrimination throughout the historical times is the physical power, the physical structure of women and men. It was the physical strength which really led to the male domination. And it is thought that education is also, science education is also, there is a myth, you may know, may not know, but I know, I have moved a lot in very down to earth rural areas. There is a myth that science education needs a lot of strength. Science को कष्ट करना पड़ता है, science को बहुत पढ़ाई करनी पड़ती है. You should be physically and mentally strong, and probably girls are not, according to rural areas. That is one thing. Secondly, there is another myth that science education is very, very costly. Probably it is a little bit costlier than other streams, probably. So these are the two things which always kept rural girls away from this science. And this 16% out there is mostly coming from urban areas.
Yes.
So as a CSIR or as you can say even as if I want to study as the government, we must promote science to the rural areas. Unless we promote that, you won't get this increased number 16 to 60 or 16 to 50. It should come from rural areas. And for which a lot of awareness, a lot of pushing has to be done apart from the government schemes. Government schemes are there, but it should be with willingness. I am not a political person. But a lady serpent in a village is outcome of some kind of majburi that post is given for ladies. And her husband actually runs the administration, and he is just for namesake, he is lady serpent. That kind of facilities or that kind of anyway, it will be it's a good beginning, but then we need to push it to the levels which are beyond regulations and beyond the facilities. It should come from within. Again, I say, and for that, you must, and it's duty of CSIR or scientists like us to take the science to the rural areas. We should not be satisfied with the dissemination which we get in urban area through our publications and our photographs. Tomorrow, this will be also getting a lot of publicity in papers. We should really go to rural levels and inculcate science. You remember, I always say that why a lady should be afraid of science. Ladies, if you see the kitchen of a lady or management of a lady in the kitchen, it is all full of science. It has come through experience, only she cannot put it into the principles. You take any recipe, you take anything which a lady, experienced lady does in kitchen, it's full of scientific principles. Stands the principles spelled out clearly. Why a lady or girl should be away from science? It has to, that barrier has to be removed, and probably we are the people. So I will always suggest CSI if given a chance that take CSI scientists to the rural areas, especially to girls, explain them, or even to boys also, that science is very common, science is around you, try to get science from your home, that you can say that barrier has to go, that science is very difficult and it needs a lot of mental and physical strength. That is one thing. And probably in urban areas, the point which that yes, in coming years, this discrimination will go and ladies will take over all the power because with the advent of technology, your physical requirements have gone down. Therefore, you will find that IT sector is the best sector example where you don't need physical power. So it is dominated by ladies most of it. But I am very, very happy to see that when I was doing my engineering, probably there were 10 or 12 girls. Prior to that, there were 3 or 4 girls in a class. But now, when I go to any engineering college, I can say 30-40% of the students are girl students, engineering students. And above and all, I have seen girls in mining, I have seen girls in actually chemical production plants, which are supposed to be very tough jobs, handling labor and all rough kind of, so-called rough kind of situations. So that is a good sign. We definitely, if we promote science to right levels and to right needs, the 16% will be 60%, I'm sure about. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I was almost expecting sir to start explaining thermodynamics. That is his absolute favorite principle. He relates even daily life to thermodynamics. But you're right, sir, that all these data and statistics that we have is all only from the urban. So in India also there's a very big divide, the rural and the urban, and nobody actually talks about the rural. And so that is where we also need, to bring focus on and create more outreach. I totally, absolutely agree with you. So Dr. Verma, there is something called the leaky pipeline. What it means is that when you look at a master's class, most of the, especially in the biological sectors, most of the students will be girls. But when you look at the job profile, most of the people are men. So there is that leaky pipeline. Where have all those, girls gone? Like you also said in the beginning statement that a lot of your students are girls and they get a lot of placements and everything. But what happens when they go into these jobs? Is that ratio still maintained? Are you seeing that, or is it like going down this leaky pipeline?
I feel, we are aspiring to be a 5 trillion economy by 2030. And I think the only way we can reach there is probably giving a solid fillip to the services industry, the GDP main contributor service. Now, when you talk about service industry, you're talking about IT, you're talking about banking and financial services, you're talking about education, healthcare, and all those things. You have a huge amount of domination of women in almost all these. And it's never going to go down because their expertise, their care, their concern, their alertness, their agility is well documented and everyone appreciates it. And in BTB, it's every corporate is realizing this fact. And I give an example of only few corporates, but there are huge number of people, institutions, corporate, who are realizing the importance of having women at the board level and at the operational level and at the strategic level everywhere as such. And things are really, really changing fast. And I won't be surprised when we catch up with the best of the world, economy of the world. But by the way, let me also share one data is that if you look into the compensation disparity in the US in the past 10 years, 15 years, it hasn't really changed much, but it has changed a lot in India. By the way. It has changed a lot. A lot of my students, girl students, are holding commanding positions in the industry, and we had people like people like Indira Gandhi and neighboring countries like Pandar Naik or Kondamai and Israel and all. They were the ones who were, other than Margaret Thatcher, only from Europe, but we were the ones who initiated that women can take the lead long back. And many advanced countries are still grappling with this fact. Is it possible? Is it still possible? But we only show the world. And just me, and I really am extremely positive. Looking at the girls around in my campus, I believe they're the ones who are going to, so much so that when a boy and a girl in my campus commits some kind of penalty, I don't discriminate between them at all. If I'm going to penalize 10,000 rupees to a boy, I'm going to penalize a girl student also 10,000. There's no concession whatsoever. Why should I give a concession at all? Why? I'm like, there's absolutely no difference between a boy and a girl on the campus. And we're creating that kind of structure so that we take care of their requirements, of course. Physiologically speaking, they are different. They need to be attended to, So we do take care of that. Other things like posh, Shaka, everything is very vibrant. And therefore, we make sure that nothing like this differentiates between a boy and a girl. And this is what, it's not just IMT, and I'm sure many educational institutions in India and world over are concerned and are really working towards that. And soon, probably we'll have more scientists also, dominating the world.
Let's hope all your predictions come true. Dr. Radha, you said that, you find more number of women doctors as, say, gynecologists or nursing, of course, yes. But you don't find so many as cardiac surgeons and, neurosurgeons or all that. So what do you think? What are these barriers that are keeping women out of these sectors?
Basically, I feel that few of them need to be inspired to go into that stream because this is a postgraduate. So people would pick up what they really like and would like to pursue whole of their life ahead because they can't turn up. Like you can't be trained to gynecologist and decide to practice ophthalmology. It's not like other technical fields where you can choose, or not like in US where you are trained to be a doctor and one fine day you think that I want to study history and would love to be a professor of history. It doesn't happen that in our country. So I think first thing is they need to be inspired for those particular subjects. Apart from that, I really feel that these fields also need a lot of time and dedication. And perhaps they have, as it is, the girl force in my stream have always been, inspired to be first is a gynecologist, then they want to be a pediatrician or a physician, and then they take her. But I'm sure once they see their role models coming up in these fields, there would be many people many girls who would opt for this. And once they step into that, I'm sure they'll take over and rule it. Because once they step into that, then no question arises of how much time it needs for a neurosurgery, whether it's 10 hours or 12 hours, or whether a cardiac surgery goes beyond 4 or 5 years. I'm sure nothing of that sort will come. But then again, when they step in, they are going to face a few issues because they won't have any peers of the same gender there. And this question of inclusivity will perhaps will be raised there in her mind as well as the other peers who are working in that department.
Right, absolutely. So actually, like Dr. Vaidya gave the example of women pilots. Earlier, you would really not see anyone in that sector. But now there are so many women pilots that are.
In fact, I wanted to add, first I wanted to stay away from personal experiences. But then I thought I must add on this stage. I feel I was privileged because I didn't face it. But respiratory medicine or pulmonology is a new upcoming branch where there are a lot of procedures which we call as interventional has come up. And there are many girls who have taken up and have established themselves as interventional pulmonology. But they too have faced a lot of discrimination, not only in getting work allotted, but also pay as well as recognition. Like some work is being done, but they don't get the praise as well as it's not attributed to their name. So I think this would come. But slowly they too have come out of this and have become a stronger woman in pulmonology. So I think everybody would have to go through this phase. By the time their own peers of the same gender or of the opposite gender make up their mind and think, it should come as everybody has acted, that inclusivity should come from within. Once they are used to it and would start accepting it automatically, I think this issue will go away.
So when we say women in the workforce, we of course mean paid workforce, because every woman is already working at home. Some of us are privileged, we are having our jobs here, but there are many who are stay-at-home moms and they are working at home without any payment as such. It's categorized like that, sorry to say, but that part is really true. So getting women into paid labor, there is a report, Madhuriji, from McKinsey Global Institute. It says that advancing women's equality could lead to a $28 trillion increase in the global GDP by 2025. And for India, it means 18% increase in GDP. So, do you see any kind of movement like this, that more women are coming into the corporate sector? And basically, do you agree with this report?
Okay. So I pretty much agree with this McKinsey report, Atana. So and I do see this kind of movement too happening in the corporate sector also. So as of now, if we see the percentage of women population in India is almost 50% of the working age population. However, even today, what I understand is a significant percent of women, they are not working at a workplace, maybe due to some other certain constraints or challenges they do face in the corporate sector. So now let's assume a scenario where this inclusivity has been incorporated throughout the corporate sector everywhere. So let's see like what are the expected outcomes that we can expect out of this. I can see probably two or three expected outcomes. The very first being probably, if women are given equal opportunities at the workplace, so they are able to equally contribute their talent, their knowledge to the economy. This is definitely going to increase the productivity, and ultimately it's going to increase the economic output. That is going to help improve the GDP. Next, so let's say like if women are given these economic opportunities, let's say like they are able to take care of they are able to support their families, and they are able to take care of their children's health and education. So that way, what is going to happen is we are going to build more productive and healthier workforce in the future, and again, which is ultimately going to improve the economic output of India. And lastly, this gender equality is ultimately going to raise the peace and stability throughout India. So what I see is the countries which do have more gender equality, they definitely have better economies, I would say. So one of the examples that I would like to talk about is there's a lot of progress on this front in India that we are seeing since past few years. The best example we can take is Chandrayaan, because uh, it has created global history, and we have seen that so many women scientists were involved in that Chandrayaan, which is basically a male-dominated field, I would say, since decades. So that's a really good sign, and if we are going to promote women equality in all the fields in this way, then we are definitely going to achieve the GDP that is mentioned in the McKinsey report. That is very well going to happen in India. That is what I suppose.
Yeah, thank you so much. Paroli sir, whatever meetings have been on women empowerment, and everybody presents data from UNESCO. They all say that women mostly don't like to go into girls. They don't like to go into subjects like maths, statistics, engineering. But we just heard that you also said that there are a number of girl students also in the engineering. But do you also see them like in mechanical engineering and those kind of subjects which are basically male dominated? Yes, I know that computers and IT sector you have a very good representation. But in the other more conventions, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, what about those?
Definitely, a lot of changes are happening. I remember that when I was student of, we are saying 78 to 82, most of the branches like mechanical, metallurgy, mining, and there were no girl students, zero. Only in electrical engineering and some girls in architecture department. That was a sort of scenario. I remember that in any institute there are hardly about 50 girl students total, and the total population was about 800 to 1,000. But now the scenario has changed. In almost all the branches now we are having girl students with sufficient number. In fact, in mining also we are having those students, and I'm happy to share with you that the first PhD students in mining is produced by VNIT at national level. So things are changing. Now we are having the girl students for all the branches in mechanical, because I am basically the professor of mechanical engineering. I'm director there also. I know that more than about 67 girl students are there. Then in computer science and other branches, of course, with a large number of those students are there, to the extent that we are having a separate now girls hostel of about 1,500 capacity. Recently, we have created 1,000 capacity girls hostel, and earlier there was 500, and that is full. So we are having about 1,300 to 1,400 girls students out of 4,000. So that number is quite good, and as Atul said rightly, that there is nothing like all the jobs are, there are gone like shop floor jobs and those kind of things. Everybody is sitting in the AC room and they are doing the kind of things. So Industry 4.0 and then automation and those kind of things have come. So whether it is a girl students or boy, he or she has to do the same thing. So irrespective of branches, of course, depending upon their choice or the interest, but not because of the barrier of the branch, they are the students. So issue is not there.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. I think I would like to open it up for some audience participation also. But I have a first question to any male member from the audience. Maybe I can see Nitin straight ahead. So probably he could be the first person from the audience to start. See, the main thing about leadership is getting there, taking small steps, getting different projects. If we talk about our environment and getting small step by step successes before you can actually reach to the top. But what I have seen and what really is also identified as a problem is that the networking issue. When you finish your day's work, and if you're in a meeting and there's a discussion for having, formulating new projects, getting some funding and things like that. If you're in a meeting and the men would not think twice about, let's just go for a beer and discuss some more. But the ladies will always need to rush back home because their children are waiting, the food has to be taken care of, the husband is going to come home. So they don't get to come into this kind of networking scenarios, And so I feel that the decisions are mainly made there. So how would you say, as a male member, how would you think that the women can be supported when they are not getting? I mean, it's not willful. I mean, they really need to go back home to their kids. They cannot continue till 9 o'clock in the night. So, as a male, how would you say that the women can be helped in this scenario? See, he already had a mic. How did you know I was going to ask?
He just organically never prompted me for this question. Let me be frank with all of you. So, good evening, and I do understand the difficulties with the lady colleague, and in fact, I did face those kind of things. But let me first assure you, there are no decisions taken over the glass of beer. At least in the scientific community, I can assure you. And yes, there could be some ways when we discuss very frankly. Okay. It's a question of where are you discussing. If it is a boardroom, everybody is formal. If it is not a boardroom, those kind of discussions often held during the lunch also. We need not go to the dinner and we need not go to beer. My thing is we need to probably make sure that at the entry level there are enough women representation because it all goes by the statistics. We are talking about the trailing 30 years or 40 years things. I am a father of a daughter and a son. So my son complains that most of the companies are hiring 90% girls and only 10%, and that's a corporate sector. Okay. And my daughter says that, which I also feel that she has only one concern about the women's safety. So I think much is happening to the career. We need to look into the small nitty-gritties. I'll quote another very quick example. I'm a part of the chairman of a collegium where we review the APAR. And it was such a contradictory thing. There's always a lady member while assessing. And there was a case where a lady scientist has taken almost 9 months of a maternity leave, and we were assessing her performance. And everybody was like, she hasn't done anything significant, so we can't help it. We need to view the mark accordingly. And to my surprise, the lady scientist's opinion was that, and I was very quick to react as a chairman, that we must assess her performance for 3 months. If you're done for the 3 months, she should be given, say, 100% mark. So things are changing, and the last thing I would say, what Professor Padole has mentioned. I also work a lot in the rural areas. There's a big divide. Okay, there we need to work a lot. I work a lot on the bookstore project where I see the male are just smoking biddies, and we need to always deal with the lady. So the things are changing. Please don't worry that the decisions are happening over the dinner. Okay, we are quite transparent, at least in the scientific domain. I can assure you that.
Okay, you can just replace 9 p.m. by 9 a.m.
Dinner may follow decision.
But Nitin, what you said about safety is really, really very true. And in some other discussion, this topic had really come up. That when you want, especially say in the rural areas, if the women want to send the girl child, to school, and you don't have a school in that village of a higher study, she has to go, out of the village. Then most of the mothers, do not like to send their girls, even if they are bright, because there is no guarantee of their safety. And that is something that India really, really needs to address the safety of women.
Very true. We were working with the UNICEF and they were working with the water treatment. And we were taking some surveys wherein we were talking about the girl dropout in the school. And we thought because of their awareness about that, they don't want to invest on the girl. No, the 80% of the parents were saying it is a safety issue. So we need to deal with that. And the government need to deal with a very iron hand. But at the same time, the society has to do something. I have seen a society in Japan and Singapore, which are the safest country, while there are large number of developed countries where the women are not safe. So a lot can be done and a lot needs to be done on that again.
Thank you, Nitin. Can I add? So, yeah, please, ma'am.
Yes. I just want to say something. Then Dr. Atul mentioned about the divide in the rural and urban population.
Yeah.
But with people like us who are already working and know about what is there, we can have good models like hub and spoke model where the central place does the assessment, compilation, and coming up with results. Whereas small experiments or work can be done at periphery. Then you inspire girls also to work in and work in the team. That was one thing which I wanted to say.
That's very good.
In this, already we are working with the hub and spoke model, particularly in scientific discipline. The VNID is working as a hub, and many of the institutions which are located at different places, they are working as a spoke models and for getting the data from them and all those things that they are doing there. And finally, the issue is at a larger level, we are sorting that.
Another thing change in all educations because of technology. Now we know that most of the studies can be done at home with few hours of contact program or few days of contact. So if such opportunities are offered at rural level where safety is an issue, and if it's only for 8 days, perhaps we can come up with some days where this girl can travel for 8 days or say 15 days after every 3 months. And I think it's for people like us who discuss, I should also come up with ideas which can be implemented in part and offer to the community.
I just wanted to pitch in. We are talking about the urban-rural divide and safety of girls. In my earlier posting as district collector in Parmali, I would just want to mention, if you go through the National Family Health Survey report, the number of child marriages in Parmali are 48%. So that's the kind of rural divide that we are talking about, and a pertinent reason that we try to figure out what are the reasons why the girls are. The major thing was when the girl drops out of school, then the parents feel that just to keep her safe, I mean, or in their perception, it's better to get her married.
Yeah.
And that was a major reason. And when we actually went to the, we really drilled really hard into it, that how can we actually change the face. And I interacted with around 10,000 girls in all talukas. We gathered girls and we spoke to them and we told them that, you have also got to go and say, they were all teenage girls, and we wanted to tell them that you have to say no to such a thing as well, while you are counseling the parents simultaneously. But the fact that safety of the rural children, and what happened that, like you said, as per RT, right to education, the children should have primary school, which is up to class 8 within a radius of 1 kilometer. But beyond that, after 8, which is like they are 12 or 13 years of age, then they have to move to another village where will be a Kendra Shala, or a central school where the children have to pursue for 9th education. So there were there are educationally backward blocks identified everywhere in the country, and all my 9 blocks in Parmali came in educationally backward blocks, and all of them had government support for buses flying from every village of the district to the central school. So we ensured that that system could work well. But the basic thing is education. If a girl is able to pursue her education, and I floated that thing as well, and because I was exiting and I wanted this to remain permanent in the district even after I exit, what we did was we displayed a list of vulnerable girl children who are vulnerable to child marriage. Who were they? Girls who are orphans, girls who are staying with their mama, kaka, all those things, girls who are dropped out. So we listed red flag girls. We used to call them red flag. So we enlisted all girls in that village who are vulnerable to child marriage, and we said that this is a list that will be displayed on your village board, and you, the community, take up ownership that none of our girl children will be married before 18 years of age, and we will pursue their education. So that's how community came forward and said that we are taking ownership of our girl children. We will ensure that they are educated till at least 12th, so that they are attain the marriageable age. But it's extreme. The rural divide, we can't even think of. If I narrate this to one of my batchmates in another state, they say, you are in Maharashtra. It's one of the most advanced state of the country. They can't imagine such a thing. You must have recently read about West Bengal, where suddenly in a village, some 50-60 ladies came out and they said that they have been gang raped over a period of 2 months. And while discussing it with somebody from the police service in West Bengal, they said this is the reality in every village in West Bengal. It is unbelievable. So like we said, there are a lot of issues at the ground level that need to be addressed when we speak about inclusivity, equality, but there is belief, there is work being done, and but God helps those who help themselves. So we are the ones who are going to hopefully be that change. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I think we need more officers like you in different, parts of the country to address all this. So anybody from the audience would like to ask any of our panelists any question? Rima?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. This was a wonderful program because we're discussing about the various aspects of women inclusivity in rural as well as urban sector. Um, I would just like to add one point when we talk about how we are inspiring inclusivity in even in urban setup. Are we really looking after, like just ma'am said, like when we are meeting and discussing, the women are always thinking, the one part of the mind is always thinking how we can end up and what different role we have to assume when we get back home, and that is a totally different world. And that different world doesn't. And so somewhere the man has to also think that the woman has to deliver dual responsibility, and that should not be taken as we are considering you. That consideration should not be coming. They should be treated with dignity and not with okay, we are.
You tell gayi. Not like
May I propose a solution for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Train your husband and sons. Because as long, I will be not shy and I'll be proud of saying that if I don't return home on time and my husband does before me, he will ensure that there is food for the child. And for me as well. For me it was not a priority, but बच्चे के लिए कर रहे थे. And I said, I am also there. Please consider me as well. So I think we should really start training our sons, in the household as well.
Just one additional thing which I want to say is that it's not a question of whether you're doing home job or you're working in corporate or handling institution. You or any lady is involved in a lot of decision making, may not be at office level, but you are also involved in decision making. It's a question of decision making. Leadership has to take a decision. So ladies take more decisions in life as compared to gents counterpart. We may take some decisions as our official position. Most of the in good households, it's a question of decision taking. It's not a question of whether you are taking decision here. You should not, this society should shun away from the decision being taken by male at every level. That is the problem. The inclusiveness will come in household decisions are also taken by male and everything is decided by male. That is the wrong situation. Whether you take decision at home, whether you take decision at office, it doesn't matter. You should have equal liberty somewhere. That is the question. That's what I wanted to add.
In fact, I will add that what Atul is saying is perfectly right. Only we are taking decisions in the offices. Otherwise, decisions are taken by them. I will narrate a small story, and then there was a king, and he just called people, and he said that okay, if you are listening to your you can say the home ministry, then you raise the hand, oh, I will give you the apple or orange. And those who got, I will give the horse. Then everybody raised the hand, so they give them orange. There was only one person, he was happy and this thing, he came, okay, he gave him the horse. He went with the horse, and next day he came. He said, how come you have come? I have given you yesterday the horse. No, sir, it is a black horse. तो मेरी पत्नी बोली नहीं ये थोड़ा सा ब्लैक नहीं होना व्हाइट होना चाहिए ठीक है then that Pradhan ji was sitting with Raja. He came in the night at 2 o'clock and he just knocked and came to king. I want one question. I have one question. What is that question? रात को 10 बजे 2 बजे you are coming to me. No, sir, I just want to ask you how you decided this orange and horse. Why not and I will give some money and this and that. How this? Sure, you just go. No, no, I just want to know this thing. He said that you are so patient person, and how come you are coming at 2 o'clock? And then he said, no, no, my wife asked me that why he has done like that. So he also gave him orange. And then he just, when he was going, again came back. But why you have not given an answer that why only this orange and the horse? Why not other things? So Raja said, "अरे, this is given by my baby, वो बोल रही थी कि ऐसा करो." So he returned that orange to him. So this is the story everywhere that we can take the decision in the office. But then when I go to home, then my home ministry entry, she is director to me.
No, I just wanted to make a point. This is, of course, in these discussions for economics. I'm sure many of you are aware. And he says that in the TVs in the villages made a lot of difference. In all those serials, series like Kyunki Saal Become Chaudhary and things like that, these serials in the villages made educated the women in the villages. They really told them how do we need to kind of empower yourself and what is in it for you to be a different human being on this earth as such. So that's what I'm saying. If you get a chance to probably read that book, do that.
In fact, even in the urban, if you look at it, when I look around, and all of you must have seen and you would agree with, we see so much of women workforce working at construction sites, but we don't see women nurses. We don't see women plumbers. We don't see them, and they have so much of creativity. They have so much of art in themselves, but they are yet to come in this field, and they are just doing a laborious job. So I think that lady who is observing that mason day in and day out, I don't think it's a very difficult job for her to do it, or to get it done. But either she's not offered or she has not stepped out of her own boundary. And this divide you will see everywhere. It's for that woman as well as the site or whichever area she's working. They should feel about this inclusivity at that workplace and offer those opportunities for them.
Yeah, absolutely right, ma'am. We see male chefs, but we don't see women plumbers. At least I've not seen. Yes. That's true. So much as I would like to continue with this discussion, I think Devshri already stood up before I got it. So I think we will end it here. Thank you all for being such a lovely audience, and thank you all so much for accepting our invitation on behalf of the director. I would like to thank you all. But actually, I will hand it over to Devshri now.
So after such an insightful and panel discussion, I'd like to extend the gratitude to our esteemed panelists for sharing their expertise and engaging in thought-provoking dialogues. Let's give them a round of applause for their valuable contributions. It was a wonderful journey today. We all enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I now request Dr. Kumar sir to kindly present the vote of thanks. So before we move on to the next, I request our director sir to present the next.
Wait, after you this time.
No.
Women empowerment.
Okay, the moderator of today's, so I request Dr. Karthik to present the next.
And don't give it to me. आप सामने आइए इधर.
Thank you so much.
I think we are
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Very nice.
Accepted.
Thank you so much. I now request Dr. Kumar to present the awards.
Respected dignitaries, just अभी जो पूरा पैनल चर्चा हुआ है इसमें आपने देखा होगा कि एक मेरे लिए भी जो कल्चर ऑफ इंक्लूजन डेवलपमेंट इंक्लूसिविटी टॉपिक था और कल्चर ऑफ इंक्लूजन हमें डेवलप करना चाहिए, ये जो मैसेज था इसमें मुझे अभी जब मैं आ रहा था तो सोचा कि लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन बोलूं या नहीं बोलूं क्योंकि लेडीज अगर ग्रामेटिकली उसको देखा है तो बहुत सारी चीजें देखने की, लेकिन ग्रामेटिकली मैं देखता हूँ लेडीज को तो लेडीज में सारी क्वालिटीज इनहेरेंट है, ऐसा सोचा जाता है। जेंडर को इससे कहा जाता है कि जो ग्रुप है यहाँ पे बैठा हुआ वो सारे जेंडर है, लेकिन ऐसा है क्या? ये सोचने वाली बात है। मतलब जो माइंडसेट है, जो इनहेरेंट क्वालिटी है, अपनी इनहेरेंट जो बातें पता है, तो ये लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन जो मैंने आपको बताया इससे प्रूव होती है। तो लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, तो जेंटलमैन क्यों नहीं कहा जा सकता? तो इसके बहुत सारे रीजंस हैं, मैंने अभी पता नहीं, मैं यहाँ पे ज्यादा खुलासा नहीं कर सकता उन बातों का, लेकिन आप सोच सकते हैं आज के दिन कि क्यों नहीं हो सकता, ये माइंडसेट हम चेंज कर सकते हैं, ये आपके ऊपर छोड़ता हूँ मैं आज के दिन। तो इसी के साथ सर आप लोग सब आए यहाँ पे डिग्निटरीज, आपने अपना वैल्यूएबल समय दिया, इसलिए बहुत बहुत थैंक्स आपका। और मेरे सभी साथी, सभी साइंटिस्ट, सभी स्टाफ जो इस कार्यक्रम में सीधे या अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से जुड़े थे, सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और मैडम अख्तर जिनका कॉन्सेप्ट था आज का ये थीम, उनका भी बहुत बहुत थैंक्स। और मेरे सभी साथी जो मेरे डिवीजन से है और बाहर से भी, उन सबका धन्यवाद। और इसी के साथ मैं आप सबको थैंक्स कहता हूँ अपने तहे दिल से, बॉटम फ्रॉम माय हार्ट। और इसके साथ ही मैं आप सबको रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि आप अपने स्थान पे खड़े रहे, क्योंकि राष्ट्रगान के लिए थैंक यू।
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा, तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा, जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
मैं सभी से अनुरोध करता हूँ कि डिग्निटरीज को पहले जाने दें और डायरेक्ट ऑफिस में